Choose you this day whom you will serve. As for me and my house, we will serve the Lord.
You know, since I had that interesting interaction online the other day, and I called someone a heretic for committing blasphemy, which, I mean, they did commit blasphemy. Maybe they weren't a heretic. Maybe. Because, see, and I'm sitting here like, why am I sitting here like armchair, psychoanalyzing all this stuff, down to little nitty and gritties and stuff, trying to figure out what's wrong. So I don't want to believe that these people are really internally motivated by deception. But if they don't know what reality is, then that could be what the answer is. So I'm going to go ahead and just give up and willingly admit I have been hardcore armchair psychoanalyst on this from the beginning, if you hadn't already told. But I finally, as I'm sitting here like literally watching, the third video I'm working on here, and I'm saying some really good things, I'm realizing that I'm making a diagnosis. I'm just trying to put it together. Listen.
Guide these people and groups that aren't for it, but I see a lot of selfishness in the lack of fathers in the home that are advocating for the children. Maybe it.
Okay. Anyway, I'm talking about like the internal motivation, and they claim to be Christian, some of them, and I keep seeing it as an excuse. I keep saying like false witness, and I think, again, it really is, but I don't think it's intentional. I think they're schizophrenics. I think we have a huge pandemic of unaware, not self-aware schizophrenics that may be to the point where they can't be, or it's like I'm trying to do right now. Whenever I see it, put a stop to it. No, ma'am, sir. Reality here, check. There's a dictionary, there's a book on biology, there's some physics, the truth about lying, citizen soldier, your first, the Constitution, the Ten Commandments, the pastor study, I've been, into it my whole life, and I think that's the big difference. I was introduced to Christianity very young, and so that deep down is the most important thing. It's not outwardly, because it doesn't need to be. These people seem to do the opposite. Inward, they don't get it. They don't understand what actual empathy is. They just know how to emulate it. And as they learned about this idea called Christianity later, they attach to it because it sounds good, but they never actually put the work it takes into solving their internal issues. They just cover it up. So they pretend to be Christians, but they're not pretending on purpose. They've got a real mental illness. They've slipped into psychosis apparently at this point. Again, and if they haven't, then they are openly serving Satan and not just a poor lost soul. How does that sound? And now you see why I was talking about feeling bad for these people. And it took me this long to figure it out, because right away, if everybody else would just separate, divide, go their own ways, I'm trying to avoid that. If they're watching these, I hope they are. I hope they're picking something up, and maybe in the end we can all come around again so we can get along, as that one female said, in the name of God. Do you understand what I'm getting at? So Christianity is the most important thing to me. I don't believe it's the most important thing to them. They feel like it is, but it's not really. Whereas I'm the opposite. I can feel all kinds of ways, but you know what I mean? It is what it is. I'm going to heaven when I die, and I got faith in it because, I've sought redemption. I'm forgiven for my sins, and I'm comfortable with that. These people haven't sought redemption, so they can't be forgiven, and I think somewhere inside they either know that, or they pretend or they don't, and then they don't know what reality is, so they don't really know what sin is, they don't really know what forgiveness is, and isn't that a definition of insanity? Now, let's go ahead and just narrate this now. We're 5 minutes in, and you got the gist of everything we're doing. So, my misdiagnosis, it took a long time. Lots and lots and lots and lots and lots and lots and lots. Oh boy, what a horrible camera angle and everything. Man, I need a better camera. Anyway, it's 1, 2, 3. I'll probably edit this out. Anyway, so there's no other God before him. Or let me get the title to this. Oh man, I'm sorry. Like I said, I've been holding this camera for a while. I'm reading from the book, so we just have to deal with this camera angle, guys. There, you like my little... If you do, go see a doctor. For real. you... Alright. False Christianity, which I started off as a blasphemous person, and I crossed it out for false Christianity. Or pretend Christianity, or... You see what I'm saying? I still was developing this. This is real, okay? It's some real time. Remember I used to do that a couple years ago, I think? Well, here we go. Real time. Alright, social spiritual rule commands these. If you are going to say you are a Christian, and you are a Christian. Otherwise, if you are a Christian, you know that somebody who's saying they are a Christian is not, because they're not following this first rule. Does everything make sense and everybody understands? So, there's no other God before him. Okay, we're talking about the God from the Bible. Meaning, that's the most important. Right back to what I was saying at the beginning. They're not putting the Christianity first. They're putting their emotions, they're putting the other people's life, and even their own above God's. And remember, you do have to take good care of yourself so that you can be here to serve God effectively. So, you know what I mean? So that's not the same as self-serving as self-love, self-care. To serve is not to love. You know what I'm saying? There's a difference. All right, and it has a lot has to do with selfishness. Like, I'm empathetic in a way, like I care about myself, but by proxy, because I take good care of myself, I can take good care of other people, even if it's just treating them better than being a school shooter, you know, or an abortion doctor. Okay? So, let's see. When is it not the most important aspect of internal value, then you have lost faith, or something to that effect. Do you understand? So if you have once actually built a foundation, but you slipped away from it, then you've lost faith. Again, or something to that effect. You therefore have fallen from the safety of forgiveness. And that's where that self-doubt and all that stuff we were talking about in that first video, that I was sensing just the guilt and self-doubt just blowing out of these people, but they were acting like they were the most righteous people. Remember, like I was a rapist and they were the child victims. Okay, so that's because they had fallen from the safety of forgiveness. They didn't have real faith. They didn't really, truly understand that they are forgiven. So they can't be Christians. You cannot be Christians if you have not truly accepted that, and it's something you have to maintain. It's hard work. And that's another thing. A lot of laziness. I kept mentioning that. It takes hard work, and I don't think they're maybe not capable, because it takes a certain amount of ability to be able to put in the work to do it. And if you're overwhelmed with psychosis and everything else, you know, bump and grind in daily life, and you didn't grow up with a father in the home, you know, that got along with the mother, you know, actually going to just straight up say married, you know, as a Christian couple, that was self-supporting. If you didn't have all of that, then you've already got a hole in your head. You've already got an anxiety Deficit. You've got a problem. You've already got personality problems. Already there. You've already got a hole in your head. When that continues on into adulthood, and then you and everyone else around you, and now our government and even the schools are teaching you that no, your insanity is reality. Don't let anybody else ever tell you no. So, but anyway, so now you see why I kept bringing up that I've got my self-doubt solved. These people seem to have one without. I was right on the money with that too. Dr. Demers is in the house. All right, so, but anyway, so to get back to the safety of forgiveness, it requires redemption by submission back to the first commandment. That right there is a lot of work on yourself too. You really have to step back and figure out if that's what you want or not, and make a hardcore decision, which is one of those things schizophrenics don't do because they're delusional. They can't make decisions. They can say yes or no, but they cannot make decisions, if that makes any sense. Because they're always, do I please or do I please them, myself, find a way to please both? But there's no empathy or something. Again, there's a hole in their head. It's different, and it's a spectrum. There's differences and levels and even levels of functioning. As I was already showing you, I'm like way up here on this level of functioning for having this much of my brain. These people haven't any apparent actual physical brain damage. It's just the wiring and their continual behavior. And again, I blame everyone around them that has the capability to do what I just did. Point this stuff out. Don't let it slide. Don't give them you're being rude. So this person was wrong. Doesn't matter if they were wrong. You were rude. No, ma'am. It does matter that they were wrong. In fact, they were even more rude than me in response, and by being wrong, they were even more rude to me. Does my opinion matter at all? No, because this is my channel, and I'm okay. Well, you're acting way too much like a masculine male. It's no wonder, and you can't be a Christian again like that, because there is a hierarchy, that God commands of mankind. All right, so let's see. Did I skip a little? Oh no, boy, I moved right along. Okay. Rampant emotional regulation disorder, borderlining schizophrenia. That's a good title. I like that. All of us in this group have emotional regulation disorder, and I'm including myself. And I'm learning this. It's actually nearly impossible to get along with this emotional regulation disorder unless you all do, like I was saying, that bird brain group mentality. Everybody just agrees with each other, so there's no conflicts around, so everybody's comfortable. It's because they're all a bunch of emotionally regulated, disordered schizophrenics. Okay, it's combined. And I've already connected, I'll mention it later, I've already connected schizophrenia to anxiety, and ADHD disorders, which is the basis for addiction, addictive personality. You know what I'm saying? Just that's it. This is the way it is. It's coming together. So, but the difference between and I just kind of pointed this out. Mine is correctly treated, and my self-awareness is a priority to maintaining overall balance. They don't even have a clue what self-awareness is, apparently. Or if they do, again, they just lie and to themselves and everybody else enough to just let it go away, because they don't want to be uncomfortable. They can't. I don't want to say they can't handle it. They don't want to. That's another part of it I keep. And that's where I'm saying that with the asylums too. If somebody can or can't handle it, if somebody can handle that and chooses not to, again, put them in an asylum, because they're still making a very bad choice that's bad for everybody else, that's not fair, and blah, blah, blah. Or if they are actually incapable of making those kinds of decisions, and it's not they're just choosing not to. Same thing. They don't need to be running around like this, having children, screaming at the abuse victims the next generation later. And that's pretty much exactly what happened. I'm exactly what that one female, oh, God help the children. That was a huge grab for attention public display. Quote, in the name of God, but it had nothing to do with God. Like I said, I found out she's just a schizophrenic who has a bunch of children that instead of taking care of them and getting a father and everything, she's out there just doing this crazy stuff in a yellow dress. Again, trying to make herself feel better for what she's done instead of actually seeking real redemption. Maybe she can't do it, or maybe she's choosing not to. Either way, I wish she didn't have children, but here she is on this channel, supposed to be promoting the advocacy for children. Like I said, I started calling this stuff out, and I tried to get to the channel creator, and separate from this. Nope, right along with it. And it hurts too, because I really wanted to, get along with these people, and the personality seemed all right, except for this straight up schizophrenia. Ding, 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 ding. Unchecked schizophrenia, mind you. I've known some schizophrenics that's got it checked and stuff where, and they're probably all right. Not anybody I want to really trust with my life, but that's just because I have similar issues. Do you understand what I'm saying? And I've already told you that. I've already realized that two people with this problem that don't just shut up and follow the herd mentality can't get along, as far as I can tell. And that's what I think is happening. We got a lot of these schizophrenics, and they either get along until something doesn't get along, and then they snap, break up with children and all this, or again, filling a hole in the head is really addiction for the sex, and you get a paycheck for the babies, and just, all right, my bad. The other group is not self-aware. It's no wonder they may not be able to be made self-aware, or is it so outrageous the presentation when someone else questions them? Okay, now this is where everything kind of falls apart for this. When they do that to each other, there ain't no way except tragedy, or again, they all just get dumber. They all just give up another right of independence so that everybody can, quote, be a little more comfortable and a little more dumber. They call me stupid. Anyway, but anybody ever brings it up to them, and again, I think this is childhood issues with all these people, and I haven't heard one of them admit that they're child abuse victims, but I'm seeing these signs here. Man, all we need to do is be honest, for real. Okay, so their presentation when the snowflake triggered that. Oh my God! I can't believe you just called me that, and your God is gonna take you down for that because I am a Christian and man, wait! Christ says you can't do that. You can't wish bad on me in the name of God and be in my religion, man. That's it. Just stop. Okay? Can you accept that? So most people give up, especially other people like them. And there's so many of them like them now that it's a pandemic. Thank you, Joshua. Okay, but anyway, then you come up with people like me, and it's just they cower. They block, shut off, mute, hide from it, scared. Oh, I don't want my feelings hurt. Oh, nobody can call me wrong. Ah! That's what I'm saying. Oh, and that's anxiety disorders and stuff. See? Right back around, huh? And with the emotional regulation, they can't shut it off for just a moment to say, wait a minute, he's right. Why am I asking God to harm this guy? Even if he's messed up, why don't I try to help solve his problem? Because they're not Christians. They may not even be capable of it until the schizophrenia is solved. They might be able to solve it on themselves, by themselves. Hopefully, maybe watching these videos and me showing up once in a while and look, you can't call yourself Christian if you're not a Christian. Ah! doing that once in a while and, you know, saying, stop running from me. Talk to me. Okay? I want to help you guys not go down the wrong path. I want to help you guys, you know, mean what you say. So, anyway. But this is all pretty cool. I know this is a long video. I might even have to, like, stop this and cut it up and, because I'm just, hardware's hard when it comes to big processing right now. So, let's see, the other group's not self-aware, the outrageous thing, so we just covered that. Presentation when somebody else has questions. Okay, yeah, so the outrageous, so is it that they can't be made self-aware, or is it the outrageous presentation when someone else questions them? After they developed enough strength to bully others, is it out of control? Okay, do you follow that? After they developed enough strength to bully others, where do you think they get those bullying tactics from? And a bully is a weakling, by the way. Which means that if any of those people we're talking about, you know, I'm armchair psychoanalyzing right now, had parents that did anything to them that's causing them to act this way towards me, then yeah, they're bullies and they're weaklings, they're bad people. They should have never had those people to be doing what they're doing to me. It is what it is, folks. In fact, somebody even said, "Oh, you should thank your mother for giving birth to you." I was like, "What? She's doing meth, and I got born with a hole in my head and then sold me for sex. What are you talking about? Thank her." I'm like, I already know what this is about. You just trying to make me feel bad or acting like a badass, but you know what? What you just said to me is satanic, man. Just go seek redemption, buddy. You got more problems than I do at this point. Oh man. By the way, YouTube wouldn't let me reply to that comment. They let him comment like that to me, but they wouldn't let me say that to him. So I just went ahead and just blocked and deleted that stuff. If that's the point. If I can't reply to stuff like that, then I'm not even going to allow it. I'm not being unfair. I'm working with what I have to work with. Okay? I don't mind having everybody's bad comments on there if I'm allowed to reply properly. On my own channel. And it's not even cussing. It's you here. It's just, you know, you're the one with the problem, man. You over here. It's like anytime I use the word sex slave or child abuse or any words like that now, my comments don't go through. It's getting worse and worse too. YouTube. All right. So, now, this is what I was saying earlier. Someone has to stop up. Someone has to stop this, stand up, and set the record straight. I want to believe the more routine the negative feedback, the more developed the behavior. Which goes back to childhood. Negative feedback on positive actions from a child results in now negative, you know what I'm saying? A backwards adult, basically. And I'm wondering if you can do the opposite once a mind's developed. And that's where the asylums and everything come back in. So, this is what I was getting at. Let's see. The more routine, the negative feedback, the more developed behavior. So, if people like me keep standing up to people like that with zero tolerance, like I said, you know, the moment they went 1 + 1 = 3, and I said, no, 1 + 1 = 2. 1 + 1 = 3. No, 1 + 1 = 2. 1 + 1 = 3, you stupid motherfucker! No, 1 + 1 = 2. You're blocky click! But then I show it back up and I'm like, why are you running from your problems, coward? 1 + 1 still equals 2. Maybe eventually it'll solve the problem. I don't know, this is a little experiment maybe. Hey, they accepted me in. Now they got to deal with me. So, boy, that's kind of predator shit, but I'll have to think about that. Yeah, something in my head clicked and said maybe that's not a great idea. I'll work on that one. All right. So anyway, blah 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 blah. So yeah. So the earlier the better to stopping this developed behavior. By the way, 2 reasons. One, again, the routine. The sooner it starts, the less continuing to develop until they die. For starters, 2, I feel like with people like me, if you let them slip even once or twice, and then start like 1 plus 1 equals 3, and you're like, maybe, whatever. And they're like, well, 1 plus 1 equals 4. 1 plus 1 equals 5. No, it doesn't. You lost. The first time you get 1 plus 1 equals 3, 1 plus 1 equals 2.2. No, 2.0. 2.02. No, 2.0. Nothing more, nothing less. The first time, or again, and you continue to tell them until they force you to leave, or things gonna get or things will get violent. You know what I'm saying? Or until they force you to leave, or things get. Well, if things get violent, you're forced to leave anyway. So I stand corrected. Or they accept reality. If you can at least get them to admit to you they accept reality, that's the start of something. Better than fueling that for the rest of their life, right? Okay, we on to something. Man, this is... Oh, good, I'm keeping it within a half hour, though. Awesome. I've still got 4 minutes, and I think I'm down to my last page. Great. Alright. Schizophrenia and spirituality do not mix. Well, I tell you what, if I'd have just flipped the camera over the other way, I'd be looking more at the camera every time I look at the paper. Okay, let's try this. Sorry if I keep looking away so much. But anyway. Alright, addictive personality disorder is likely included with schizotypical behavior. I've already connected schizophrenia with an undiagnosed or at least untreated and ignored ADHD anxiety type wiring. It is also a way to cope with untreated emotional regulation disorder, or what they call borderline. To make the emotional sensitivities less troublesome to this person suffering from this disorder, one limits themselves to exposure or triggers by nature. Now, the right thing to do is is therapy, exposure therapy, forcing yourself, in intelligent ways to desensitize yourself to the things that are the most troublesome. Eventually the most troublesome. You know what I'm saying? You don't may not want to start with the most troublesome unless you're just hardcore like me. But ooh, excuse me. All right. Anyway, where was I? ERD. Oh yeah, okay, they triggered. Okay, so this goes unchecked with the anxiety disorder, and you get someone who cannot naturally handle reality and behave normally unless they solve all their inner conflicts, past, present, while understanding the unfair difficulties and disability. And that's one of those things I was saying, that having real faith in God and being a real Christian is vital to solving a lot of these problems in this way. To say that you're a Christian but not be one is something that Christians have to defend, because it gives the real Christians a bad name. Remember, I told you I'm entitled, and it's my duty to uphold my religion. That's I mean, do oaths and loyalty mean nothing? Yes, it does to a lot of to most of the people because they're schizophrenics. Again, government design, blah blah blah. We'll get into that later. I got that on another notepad that's 4, 5, 6 sheets deep that I've still. And this is kind of what I needed to get figured out before I finished the last little section on that, so I can get my Social Security Officer Joshua Systemic Social Slavery series about that everything from the welfare to the healthcare. So, I guess the bottom line is, to take Christianity seriously, you have to be based in reality. When you don't know or won't admit what reality actually is, then you have slipped into psychosis, the key ingredient in schizophrenia. How else can someone claim to be a Christian but deny the Word of God and the teachings of His Son, Jesus Christ? You can't. And now this brings us back to the need for attention. And, I'll have to continue because it's 30 minutes. But back to the emotional regulation disorder, and it's a loop. Fruit Loop. Cuckoo.
Answer the phone, Joshua!